If you're a big fan of Gods Unchained and you're looking to master Atlanteans, this is the right video for you. Hello everyone, I'm Željko and welcome to CryptoGrid channel. I'm somebody that managed to reach number 1 on the leaderboard multiple times with Atlanteans, so this is the reason why I think I'm the right person to kinda teach you and help you out. There are many good Atlantean players in the game. I stopped playing for a while, now I'm just trying to do a comeback pretty much. And I saw there is actually less people playing Atlanteans because the deck hasn't evolved a lot, and I feel that the approach that I used in the past is kind of the approach that you actually wanna use right now again. So if we go into the game, I like to use geodecks a lot, and for example you can see what other people are using, what other people are doing, and in some of the things I think is very accurate, some of the things is not very accurate. For example, when it comes to the powers, I think you always want to use Mage Bolt as well. It's far best because it will often happen, especially like either in the late game, that you can finish them by pinging them literally, or that you can overtake the board by pinging some of their minions, and this is how you actually win. Since this is a combo deck, there are two ways how you can actually play it. You can play it with very high tempo and trying to push your opponent early and trying to finish him as soon as possible, or you can pretty much stack 1-cost cards in your hand while you pull Francesca as well. And when you have 7 mana, you literally drop everything from your hand on the board and you summon Francesca and you deal 15 damage to your opponent god. Sometimes it will be enough to finish him off. Sometimes you will need literally one more turn to finish him off. I think there are very few occasions when you need multiple turns. It might be against Light or some other opponent to kind of do it, but in most of the cases it's pretty simple. So regarding the cards, the way how I see it, I saw some people play different in comparison to me. I used some slightly different cards in comparison to what you can see here that are kind of the most used ones. But my goal is to always like go through my deck as fast as possible in case, let's say, if the Francesca is at the end of my deck, I wanna get it much faster. So I always wanna have cards that will allow me to draw more cards, or I wanna have cards that have 4C that allows me to see, for example, 2 cards in this case, and then I can either see, okay, Francesca is next, let's keep it, or I have the cards that I don't want, let's push them to the back of the deck. 4C is pretty much ability that pushes the cards to the back of your deck if you want to do it, or you can literally draw them in the next turns. Also, since you're using only you can see these guys, for example, using Dismantling Truth as a spell. For example, if you look into my deck, I still prefer having the Door, which pretty much draws a card and reduces its cost by 1. Sometimes you can draw Francesca at like turn 4 or 5, and it can reduce the cost of Francesca to 3, which is very helpful, or it can allow you to draw a minion that costs 1 that you can kind of play for 0, which will make you to spend less mana when you are drawing. So when it comes to my deck, you can see I'm using 2 Atlantean Forgers because they allow me. I don't use these, for example, for the strength purposes. I use them to either clear the board, or I use them to force in more cards and go through my deck faster. I use Acolytes because there's so often enemies that will try to cast spells early, and this will kind of prevent them, or it will force them to destroy your Acolytes in order to be able to do it. I already said why I'm using the Door as a spell. I use 2 Scuttler Sentries because they pretty much allow you to deal 1 damage to enemy opponents, and sometimes there's like, for example, Deception decks that have minions, like if they are playing Rush Deception, they will have minions that have 1 HP, and you can literally drop your own Scuttler Sentry and ping it, and you can kind of kill 2 of their opponents, which will prevent them to rush you and kind of finish you very early. Sentinel Princess is the card that I am using mainly for the tempo, and it's pretty strong. because it can be 3-2 and it's great if you're facing the warrior deck. It's great if you try to rush your opponent and things like that. Undertow Striker is literally the card that will... It's easier if I talk. Okay, it's here. It kinda helps you to draw the spell, and if you're not playing for the tempo, you actually always wanna have these in your opening hand, because on a turn 2 you play Undertow Striker, you draw the Dimension Door, and then you play Dimension Door as well. So I like to pull these ones early, unless I need to defend against Amazon Nature or something like that is very strong. And then if you pull this one early, you will actually most likely lose the game, because you won't be able to play fast enough. If you want to play defensively, as I mentioned, as against Amazon Nature, you want to get Atlantean Raptors in your opening hand. If you're playing the mirror matchup, you also want to have Atlantean Raptor, because they're very, very strong. If your opponent drops 3-2 minion and you drop Atlantean Raptor on them, you pretty much gain the tempo and the card on a board while destroying their card pretty much for free. Excavation Analyst is one of the best cards, and like it's kind of free draw and free going through the deck, which is in most of the cases kind of your goal. You want to circle through the deck as fast as possible, and this is the reason why I use it. Portable Fortress, I use only one. I see people not using any. I see people using multiple of them. There are certain scenarios, for example, I like to use it against death. I like to use it versus nature, for them to kind of waste the spells to clear it, right? And there are some scenarios when it's pretty great card to play, while it's very useless card if your goal is not to transfer it to Francesca or to stall the game. Time Bomb is also something that will kind of allow you to... Let me type Time Bomb. It will allow you pretty much to usually trade one of your cards for two of the opponent's one, which is always great as a value trade, and especially if you're waiting for the Francesca in the late game, this is something that will allow you to stall the game until you're able to get Francesca. I'm playing Mythic Shuttles. This is not the card that many people actually play. It's very useful, for example, if your goal is to turn out and pull out Francesca and the game is like kind of not getting there. On turn 5 you can drop Mythic and you can drop some 2-cost or 1-cost card to kind of see and to push through your deck faster. I can see that many people are actually using Undertow Rover. I just don't think that Undertow Rover is anymore there in terms of value, because it gives you more board presence if you already have one minion on a board, but if you don't have any minions on a board, it's quite weak and useless card, and this is the main reason why I'm not using it, because you either win very easy or you need to have some more strength and presence, and this is the reason why I use Mythic Shuttle to shuffle through the deck faster, and I use Face Touch Golem because they can kind of prevent your opponent from destroying it as a card, or if you can even drop the shield on another card as well, then it's great, but in many cases you will kind of need to play Face Touch Golem on an empty board. Shattered Island, it's very strong card, as you can see, and it's very simple. It's 3/4 for 3 mana, and you can kind of force it 2 cards. As I said, I want to force it as soon as possible, and the main logic behind it is sometimes let's say if your Francesca is on 25th slot and the game is lasting, I don't know, 10-11 turns, you want to be able to get to her. And there are so many decks versus which you kind of have to play for Francesca, because you're not able to enforce enough tempo, and like kind of it's the main objective of this deck, and this is how you actually win most of your games, to just pull Francesca and play her out. The next one is Boost Walker. Again, I've been seeing people playing with 2 of them. I'm playing with 1 of them. I think it's very useful, for example, against Warrior, if you can kind of buff it, and in the mirror matchup as well, if you can buff one of your minions, kind of trade out, destroy 2 of them. and even your minion in some cases will survive, right? Especially if you combo it, if you combo it with Mythic shuttle or with Undertow striker, you can easily trade it for like 2 cards plus a spell or something from your opponent, and this is how you win. Also, it's very surprising, and sometimes you can kind of finish the game off by your opponent not thinking that you can kind of buff your minion for additional 2 damage. And during Archive, I think it's one of the strongest cards because it pretty much allows you to trade every matchup. Like, you have 4-3 that gets protected each turn, you kill his minion, and your minion gets protected next turn again. So it's actually insane strength, and maybe one of the strongest cards in the game in my opinion. Francesca, it's quite logical, right? It pretty much merges 4 of your cards, and once it merges, usually you can kind of win the game because it has protected, and as long as you're destroying the minions, you can attack their god afterwards as well, which is in my opinion a huge leverage. The last one that I use is Mana Starved, and this is, again, it can allow you to force 5 cards. It has usually, if you're able to circle through the mansion doors, it becomes 5/7. Some decks, for example death decks, can throw stuff into your deck, and the set deception ones as well, and then it can be a problem because it might summon a 0/7 or 1/2/7, which is very weak, but it's still very helpful because you're forcing 5 cards, and that kind of gives you a big leverage in my opinion. So besides the deck part, the biggest problem with Atlanteans is kind of balancing, like when you want to push, when you want to like play slower and kind of stall the game until you have 4 cards plus Francesca, because that's the way how I see usually myself winning. Okay, let's actually do one game, and so I can kind of show you in practice how I usually play. As you can see, I'm now in the bronze division, and I will be doing a video on like getting from bronze to mythic pretty much, and that's the goal, to get in maybe a week or 2 weeks, depending on how much time I have to play and how much time it will actually take me to kind of come back and relearn the game, adapt to the meta and this stuff, because as I realized, the game didn't change a lot, but it still evolved a little bit. And also, there is no ultimate best way and the best approach. I know that many people use Dread Replicator, for example, which is 6 mana cost, and me personally, I don't like using it. I think you need to have faster deck, and that's the way how you can kinda win. Again, in the other video that I'm doing, apologies, I said that you don't want to change decks all the time. You want to give it a time, learn the deck. I think that's very important part of the game, and I think many people kind of try to switch all the time rather than focusing on learning and to knowing their deck and understanding how it actually works. So also you will learn that against different gods you want to play differently, and for example, like there are multiple light decks that you can kind of play against. If you're using Governor as a tool, it will automatically open. Okay, this guy didn't play it so far, so I will keep Francesca, I will keep the Raptor, and I will keep the Striker in this scenario. And my goal, usually versus light, you wanna get to turn 7 and you wanna play it out. So my goal is to immediately to save 1 cost cards and to play very conservative until I see what he's playing. Okay, so now we gonna pull the Mansion Door. I'm still not sure, 100% sure which deck is he playing, because I haven't played the game for a while, so it's something that I need to adjust and adopt as well. to see and understand, okay, now people are playing this, now people are playing that. I assume he's playing some type of a rush deck, but we're gonna see. Okay, he's going immediately for my face, and he's trying immediately. Okay, I already know some things. I may already know that he might try to buff this further and things like that. So we're gonna play slow, conservative. If he keeps attacking me to my face, this might be kinda an instant win for me, which would be great, honestly. So let's see. Okay, I think there's not enough speed on his side. This is not the greatest for me, but I think I'm already doing solid. So we can trade like this and drop this. And I think we are already at this point, we are stalling the game pretty solidly. We pulled one dimension door, so I was very confident that this will get protected at the end of the turn, which is very important, because now he really needs to remove this. If he's not able to remove this, it will cause a big problem for him. Okay, let's see what he played. Pull random creature from each void into hand. Okay. He's just trying to gain more tempo, and this is honestly not looking very good for him. I can already play Francesca, and I think this is kinda game over for him. So we play this, we play this. Unless if he is able to destroy Francesca, it's probably game over for him. Let's see. And I'll take this in case. So now he either needs to drop something insanely strong, or he pretty much lost the game. Obviously we are now in bronze division. I won 3, lost 3, which is not good, right? But hopefully after okay, let's see what he plays. Okay, it's over. Hopefully I will be able to climb through divisions faster than I was able to do it last time. Okay, the guy just surrenders, so we won the game. And you already saw, so pretty much as soon as I started seeing developing, I knew what I want to see and what I want to do. And this is something that will take you time to learn and to adjust. It's not something, even today, like after I played the game for like 2 years, I'm still not 100% sure what's the best approach, and it's something that will kind of come to you over time. So it's something that you have to accept, and there is no exact rule, you must play it in this way or you must play it in this way. Over time, your feelings will come to kind of play, and I think this is kind of what makes the difference between, for example, Diamond and Mythic players. But as I said, craft your deck, like pick somebody, like pick me, pick Yuda. There are multiple good Atlantean players in the game. Pick some of these decks and keep playing it until you get at least to Diamond tier, and this is the moment when you can kind of change, experiment with the stuff and adjust. If you're already Diamond and or Mythic player, you probably already know this stuff, and yeah, if you have some questions or anything, you can always hop on my stream or on Discord, and I'll try to answer them. Thank you for staying out to the end. Stay strong and healthy. Bye bye.